All right, so I decided to do this as a voice vote, video vote, given that I already had my microphone on. Oh God, I can hear that my throat is starting to, my voice is starting to go. I should probably take a break for the day. I think this gravelly delivery I'm doing on the song is pretty much killing it. Okay, so we've got Bro versus Euniqe in the surgical shorthand, round 3. So let's see. I'm going to be reading them in the order that they're posted. I'll be, giving whatever comments. And you know what? Consider this my King Geck podcast, my answer in a fucking, a minion hoodie podcast. Where's my fucking Halloween costume? I was a bear. The bear on X. That's adult theme. I have some fucking lint on my shoulder, it appears. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be reading through them quickly and giving comments. So Behemoth starts, if I could, I would move time to hear those coos tonight. That is a cool opening line. I like that. Those coos. Who is it, a pigeon? Coo, coo. But I like that. But I guess babies coo too, which I read this verse briefly when it first was posted. So I have an idea of what the verse is. But yeah, the coos make sense. But when I think of coo, I'm like, pigeons? What's sleep when dreams are destined for fueling spite? I'm going to restart it. If I could, I would move time to hear those coos tonight. What's sleep when dreams are designed for fueling spite? I clutch empty bottles with gripping thoughts full of agony. She miscarried twin babies, and I'm lost in the tragedy. Really good. Like, I can't even, I can't take anything away from it. I just, the only thing that I think it was lacking is some sort of transitional step to take us to the second rhyme scheme, but it's very good. Like, content-wise, it's very strong. Just everything about this was very solid. I would say, in my opinion, bar none, the best 4 bars that I've read from you ever. So, fuck yeah, dude. Like, really nice work on that. If I could, I would move time to hear those coos tonight. What's sleep when dreams are designed for fueling spite? I clutch empty bottles with gripping thoughts full of agony. She miscarried twin babies, and I'm lost in the tragedy. I like it. I like it. It's really, really very nice. Strong verse. Then we've got Euniqe up next. Starting off with some unconventional language. It's a little odd seeing a topical using stuff like dunno, wanna, that type of thing. Dunno where I'm headed, I admitted with a message. That first line flows really nicely. Dunno where I'm headed, I admitted with a message. Ride each wave, dip and bob in every crest. The can't be hesitant. The can't be, like, what happens? This is going to be a really strange sort of explanation, but what happens is you've got, the dip and bob in every crest, and you're kind of hitting a lull, and then you're supposed to come up to the with a message, right? But you end up with can't be hesitant, so it creates a literal, like, speed bump that's in the way. Like, you have this smooth downturn, and then you're supposed to have a smooth upturn to end it. But instead, the shape results is like a downturn, and then an up, then a down, and then an upturn, right? Like, it adds in that can't be. You see how rise, fall, and then back, hesitant, rise again. So that really kind of fucks up the flow. And I think there's probably something to that, That's honestly like something that just reading the verse I came up with, that metaphor for, because you know how meter, you're supposed to go up down up down up down, stressed unstressed stressed unstressed, like that whole thing, where if you follow it, dip and bob in every crest. So you're on the downturn at crest, and then you do can't be hesitant. So it ends up actually kind of just continuing downward. It's kind of weird, like the way that it changes the word. Whereas I don't know how you would have fixed it, but under admitted with a message, you see how you can put. Whereas if you tried the same thing on the second line, it would come off as like kind of forced. If you get my meaning, like, whereas like ride each wave, dip and bob in every crest, can't be hesitant. Like it just doesn't feel the same, you know? To know where I'm headed, I admitted with a message. You see how smooth that is? How it just flows from word to word. But then ride each wave, dip and bob in every crest, can't be hesitant. The can't be is what kicks the whole thing, into a sort of state of turmoil. So kept me from drowning. Salt's never been more relevant. I feel like the use of relevant here, like relevant in most cases, is just not that good of a word. You know what? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of a wishy-washy, like middle of the road. It's like saying, "Oh, this is relevant," means like, "Oh yeah, it pertains to this." But saying something, really is something, or, like using metaphor, for example, it's like you're just using something that doesn't have the punch, the emphasis that you want, especially given that it's like an end rhyme. I don't know. I mean, maybe it could it could be worked, but I still think the point stands that the word itself is just not carrying that much weight. So it comes off as sort of like a little like, a little dull almost, if you get my meaning. Whereas you want sharp words, Even hesitant is kind of a weird, dull word. Because, like, yeah, you can be hesitant, but, like, it's just like, oh, you paused for a second. Like, that doesn't mean that much. Like, nervousness, that means a little more, but, like, anxiety and stuff, like, brings up all these different, thoughts and emotions. And I'm sure there are even stronger words that you could come up with, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna think into it too much, but I think I've done enough to illustrate the idea. So kept me from drowning. Salt's never been more relevant than now. They open the bottle and only dust's present. Even present, like I mean, I guess it's fine, but it just like kept me from drowning. Salt's never been more relevant than now. And if it's a bottle, if it's a story told from the perspective of the bottle, right? By the bottle, of the bottle. The bottle doesn't really care that much about salt, I don't think. The water, yeah, sure, that would definitely be a factor, because you could just get sunk to the bottom. But I don't think that the water really cares that much about a salt. Like for example, if a slug fell in the ocean, it'd be like, holy fuck, salt, and it would die. Bottle's not gonna do that. So like, it's not really a supporting element, the salt. You know what I mean? It just It just doesn't carry that much weight. Like, I think one of the tough things in order to make a really impactful and really effective topical verse is having this sort of synergy between your words. It's not even just about what your story does, what your story says, because anyone can write a rough mechanical description of the things that happen. The real beauty in topical verses comes out when these are metaphors that just couldn't be purer. Like they're just so spot on, and salt to a bottle, I just don't see it. Like I'm assuming it's a glass bottle, so what's salt really gonna do to glass? Like, it's just not. You see what I mean? Like, it just doesn't have that emphasis, that impact. So let me scroll up. I'm gonna try and give Behemoth Bro some more the Lizard King. Oh my god, it begins. Okay, I like that. Why are you the Lizard King? I'm curious. Okay, if I could, I would move time. It's beautiful. What more grand metaphor can you get than yeah, you could move the sun and the stars, but I'm moving fucking all of space and time, to change the fates. So that's really good. Like, I think opening like that just makes for a terrific way to go into your verse. If I could, I would move time to hear those coos tonight. And Euniqe, just so you can follow my justification, listen to like how elegant the verse sounds when I read. Like, and it's not even a difficult thing, even though there are the hiccups. Like, for example, there's no way of there's no like clean and cohesive way of transferring from fueling spite to I clutch empty bottles. It's just a non-rhyme, which works. It works, but if you want something as a point of elevation, which it's tough. I fuck this up more than I can, even like describe, because it's tough to find the right transition. But if you can find the right transition, it makes it so that your flows just move from one to the other, and you hardly notice the transition. I think this one, like this, you end designed for fueling spite. Time to hear these coos tonight. I see what you're going for. Like you're going for sort of like a double hit on the rhyme scheme. But where does time and ite go in the next line? You've got e e I like it's E-I-O U-E-I. Like, I don't know. I'm a fucking weirdo. Like, sometimes I'll put that in my text feedback, and I'm sure it's less strange there than it is in audio feedback. I don't normally do that, but for the purpose of feedback, that's the easiest way to show what I mean. Because it's ultimately the vowel sounds that are like the frame and the structure of your verse, right? So they create, whether it's pointy or whether it's smooth and it's cohesive, so when you just transition from, because the first two lines, they're really nice, they synergize well, because you've got that time, designed, fueling spike, cood tonight, but like the more internals you pack in there, I think as a rule, the better, as long as it doesn't fuck with the flow, and as long as they're well placed. I think that's that's something that's worth considering, because those kind of act as like a boosting pad, something to keep the verse moving. So if I could, I would move time to hear those coos tonight. What sleep when dreams are designed for fueling spite? You see how every part of those two lines, it falls where you expect it to. It falls where it feels like it should. You know what I mean? Like it just does a good job of carrying the verse along, and it definitely sets a good tone. I clutch empty bottles with gripping thoughts full of agony. I like the play on words and the gripping, because you're clutching and they're gripping, but they're also gripping, like they're pulling on your emotions and stuff. So I clutch empty bottles with gripping thoughts full of agony. She miscarried twin babies, and I'm lost in the tragedy. I like the repetition of the grit and mi is carried, but there's no. You could, I don't know. I feel like it'd be too much of a stretch. But like as an example of how this could have been done differently is instead of gripping thoughts, which I really like. If you could like the thing is you can't fit the full word nightmares, but nightmare would have that care eed, so you'd have it instead. Like, so for example, gripping mares full of agony, like with an apostrophe mares. That's something that I would attempt, but I don't know necessarily. You know what? I just had an idea. Let's go paint. And I'm going to paste the verse in here. And now I can illustrate and shit. Look at that. We just leveled up this feed even further. Like, this is pretty crazy. So what I'm thinking is, you have the I, which translates to the gri, and that's, and up here you've got design, ein, time, all of that. And down here you've got care, but care doesn't really have a rhyme equivalent anywhere. Where would have been a rhyme for it. So I was thinking you could have. I feel like there would have been just fine. Gripping. Oh, well, actually, I guess you couldn't do that on further consideration because thoughts is rhyming pair with lost. But that's at least something that the internal could have... I don't know. It's something at least to consider. I'm not saying you should have changed it, because this is good. This gets a big check mark. A plus. Look at this. I can draw, and now I can go smiley face. Good job, bro. Okay. Good verse. Let's let me try the same thing here. This is gonna end up like a long fucking feedback, but I don't give a shit. So you have the headed, where I'm headed. So you could even call that like a halfway, the where I'm headed. Admitted it with a message, so you have the same sort of shape there. And that's why I said that reads so smoothly, because you have headed, message, ride each wave, dip and bob, in every crest. So you have that, and then you have your hesitant, right? But the problem is, you see that this is in a different position, and the fact that you have this rhyme and immediately you jump into this can't be, which is not a rhyme paired thing. Like, it creates this big kind of jerk. Like, you know, like for example, ride each wave, dip and bob, and every crest isn't hesitant. Like, you see how isn't would have, like, the word isn't would have flowed very, like, much better. Obviously, in terms of content, it wouldn't have fit, but it's just like it illustrates that it could be changed. Like, you could still have those two syllables there. They just can't be those jutting rocks that don't have rhyme pairs. Because, yeah, you could say, ride each wave, dip and bob, and every crest isn't hesitant. Kept me from drowning, salt's never been more relevant. But even this, like, I just feel like you're in a lot of ways, like, stating, you're like, you know, kept me from drowning, that type of thing. Like, why don't you show us? Like, it would have been interesting, you know, hearing about the waves thrashing against this bottle, and, like, you know, this bottle is just like frowny face, something like that. You know, make it like unclear what's going on, and then washed ashore. I don't know. I'm not gonna try and think of more bars, especially not live. Like, if I were doing a text feedback, I would do that. But I feel like I'm just gonna take an inordinately long time, you know, just thinking through rhyme schemes, because I don't want to come up with a shitty one on live video. You know, like, not that I'm self-conscious or anything, but, like, it's just like I don't want you guys to have to suffer through the process. I'm fine with you know, I'm fine with the end product. Like, if I came up with a line, I'd be fine with sharing that no matter what it was. But in terms of just, like, working through a line and trying to rephrase an ending, like, it's just it's too much work to try and illustrate here. So yeah, I think you had a good verse in any case. Like, it was still solid, but I feel like bro just came with, I mean, his writing was just like, it was really good. It was by far the best that I've seen from him. If I could, I would move time to hear those coos tonight. What sleep when dreams are designed for fueling spite? I clutch empty bottles with gripping thoughts full of agony. She miscarried twin babies, and I'm lost in the tragedy. Like, you see how it just flows the entire time? Even with this, like, this part, like, that could very well have been word salad, but because it was placed nicely in terms of the piece, like, where it was a time where you could take, you know, it was like the role, you know what I mean? I'm not even sure if that's a sensible metaphor, but for, like, a drummer where they can roll and they can do a fill, having the miscarried twin babies in a fill is good, because I don't know, it's weird, because, like, here, especially the start of the line, like, if I said, like, let's say my rhyme scheme is trees and nectar and please select her. I don't know. So if I had the trees and nectar oh, stood beside, or where are my pants? Please select her. You know, like it doesn't really matter what you put after the rhyme, but it's better if you can continue the rhyme somehow, because then you're doing that little fill with with things that actually support the main drum beat. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of just going boo boo, you go boo 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 boo. You know, you see how like the rhythm is still there, but if you have the boo boo boo, in the middle, then it results in like a more captivating thing because you're just going boo 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 boo. I mean, it works. It keeps a rhythm, but if you go boo 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 boo, you're hitting in much more varied and potentially interesting ways, which, I mean, despite the fact that it's ridiculous to sit here and talk about drum beats, ultimately we're making a rhythm, right? So why can't you use the metaphor of music here? Like you do have notes, you do have the tone, you do have the timbre of a piece, you do have all of these things you can carry over. So I think that sort of drum beat metaphor where you go boo 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 boo, something like that. It's just like some crazy rhythm. I don't know. I'm a crazy person, so fuck it. By the way, I don't know. I got this fucking sweet ass drop pad my awesome girlfriend got me. It is very cool, and right now that's my surrogate for a mouse. So yeah, I think in closing, this was a good battle, and I think Euniqe brought a good verse, but bro just brought like pretty much, I would consider it his best 4 lines that, as far as I've seen, he's written. So like the errors in Euniqe's piece where you have that can't be and stuff, like it just it does enough to knock Euniqe's piece down, despite the good elements of Euniqe's piece. I just think bro carried this with very strong flow, bro with the flow, and a strong rhyme scheme. Although there are things that I would have liked to see more of, but at this point, I'm I in my feeds, I guess I try and hold the verses that I read to the same like standard that I aspire to, not even the one that I have, because like there are times where when I'm writing, I know something is theoretically possible. I haven't done it yet, but I know that it's theoretically possible. So I just struggle and fight with my verses until I achieve the theoretically possible thing, or at least some semblance of in imitation of the theoretically possible thing. But yeah, that's how I look at trying to improve the writing. So like those little comments that I made about where you have rhymes and like how you carried into the next line. Like you already have a great verse, but the sky's the limit. I don't think any of us in general, like on Rap Royalty, have reached the pinnacle. I don't think we are as good as is possible. I don't think anyone's even close. I think we can do better. So at all times for me, I'm constantly looking for those improvements, and that's one that I see. Like you could have one thing that I like doing, which works well, and I'm revealing some of the tools that I use in writing. But like for example, you have coups tonight, fueling spite, and then bruised with blight or something. Coups tonight, fueling spite. I'm bruised with blight. infused in sight, you know, like you like it's never a bad thing to like hit more times with a multi. You know what I mean? You're not obligated or required to just have, you know, coups tonight, fueling spite. You're not required. The other thing is, while the flow is really good, if I could, I would move time to hear those coups tonight. Uh, it's if you wanted to match with the designed for fueling spite, uh, there are 3 syllables here. To hear those, and here there's just for fueling. Yeah. So here there's just one really. Time to hear those coups tonight. Designed for fueling spite. You see, like the having the time there is good because it still makes that internal. But if you wanted to, you know, make it even stronger, then something like with parity, with like matching here, uh, would be better. I think as like a ideal thing, not idealist though. Shout out to idealist, and shout out to D-Bars joining in the league. By the way, that's really fucking exciting. Shout out to Chris Cooks, great fucking verse. I don't know. This isn't supposed to be a shout out segment. This is my secondhand short king. That wasn't even intentional. Secondhand short king. I like it. Yeah. Anyway, for the purpose of this battle, my vote has to go to Bro. I just think he nailed some of the like the flow aspect was really good. The intricacy of that flow, I think, you know, you could still work on, but in terms of just having that nice flow, that smoothness to the piece, that was definitely present, and I really enjoyed it. I think he did a great job. You both had good verses, but for me today, Bro had the better verse, hands down, in my opinion. Not pants down. Hopefully, that'd be fucking weird. Don't do that shit. This isn't the time or place. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, that's all. Keep the fire alive inside you. You guys have a fucking great day. And yeah, let's kick some fucking ass in the rest of this tournament. You guys are fucking awesome. Shout out to Ness. Thanks for putting this together. Riding the King. Peace.